You're watching PowerNation. Today on Detroit Muscle, our slow and hefty Hearse gets a chance at redemption.
This Cadillac puts out on the dyno, and it's a hoot at the track. Now on Detroit Muscle.
Hey guys, welcome to Detroit Muscle. Today is going to be a pretty good day for us because we finally get to reap the benefits of our hard work. We're going to be taking our refined and rejuvenated Grim Sleeper out to the track.
That's right, guys. This old Cadillac's first trip down the racetrack, well, it wasn't nothing to write home about. It was so slow, it would have been late to its own funeral. And now at that moment, we realized that it was going to take a few old school tricks to help boost its performance and lower the ET.
When we drug this into the shop, we jumped right on it. With this big body comes big cubic inches, 500 of them. And with an engine of this size, it normally doesn't take much to make some good power. So with a few go-fast parts, our engine and trans
Look at that.
is ready to go.
We didn't stop there. A great way to increase the sensation of flying by the seat of your pants is with gearing, so a rear axle swap was a must. We found an unusual candidate that had all the goods. A posi, a 373 gear ratio, and disc brakes. After a little fab work, we were ready to go.
To add some style and performance, we fashioned up some huge side pipes. We wanted these to make a statement, just like our Hearse. So with the help of some MagnaFlow stainless tubing, I believe they did. We've crossed our T's, dotted our I's, and we're pretty much ready to fire off our Cadillac. We just have a couple last things we need to do. Got to dump some fuel in it, and Daniel, well, he's got one last thing.
Now, since we're planning on spraying this old Cadillac with a hefty dose of throttle in a bottle, there's a couple of precautionary measures that we need to address. The one we're going to dive into today is spark plugs. What is a spark plug? Well, it's a simple device that ignites air and fuel mixture by delivering voltage from the ignition system to the combustion chamber. Now, there are many different types of spark plugs, and one thing they all have in common is their function. These aren't all created equal. There's hot plugs, cold plugs, and everything in between, and that's where the term heat range comes into play. So when you have an engine that's burning some oil, what you can do is go up in heat range to help minimize fouling. Or if you're like us and you're going to be running a healthy dose of nitrous, well, that's going to impact your decision. When you're running nitrous, you always want to run a colder plug. And the more nitrous you run, the colder your choice needs to be. Now, I'm going to show you how to read these things. Now let's look at these here. We've got some new ones, some used ones, and some dead ones. This one's dead. It's covered in carbon. It's pretty much fouled completely out, but it's telling a story. You just have to know how to read it. Now with this one, you either have too much fuel or you're burning some oil, or the plug's just too cold for your application. Now with this one, it's almost completely white. Well, that's not what you want either. Now the reason this porcelain is so white could be a result of a couple of things. Either one, the air-fuel mixture is too lean, two, the timing's way off, or three, the plug's just too hot. Now this is what you want. It looks like it's been washed in sweet tea. The amber color tells you that your engine is tuned for maximum efficiency.
You must have heard me come in talking about maximum efficiency.
Yeah, that's you all over.
You ain't got all them plugs in yet?
You're not done with that cheesecake yet?
Because I'm working on it. There's a big piece of like 3 of them.
Oh, okay. What about the gas?
That probably comes later.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna gap these plugs.
Coming up, with a little nitrous, we test how far this Cadillac will go on the dyno.
All right, you're all programmed in, and this came in under its own power. So now the big question, What's been done to it?
Man, we've done basically a head cam intake swap. You know, it's 500 cubic inch. We didn't touch the bottom end. This thing from the factory made about 200 horse. So if we make more than that, we've knocked it out of the park.
I like it.
No, and with that, you know, it shouldn't be all that hard to make some significant power from there. When I say significant, 50% gain with nitrous.
Oh, that's right. We're going to spray it.
Yeah. So it's all good, man. With this type of cubic inch, it should be pretty easy to do.
I think so. I mean, everything looks like it's where it's supposed to be. It's got some nice parts on it. You know, with the nitrous kit on it, you got a new carb, you got a nice new intake manifold. I guess the first thing we got to do is make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. So what I'd like to do is get it fired up. We'll check timing because I assume we want to make some naturally aspirated poles.
Yeah,
first.
yeah, absolutely. We'll just see what it makes, just all motor, if you will, and then spray it with, say, 75, 100 shot, and then step it up because I want to spray it as much as we can to get the biggest gain we can. Because look at this dude, man. It's a long wheelbase Cadillac. We need all the help we can get.
I like the way you think. So. All right, so first thing is get it fired up, make sure we have tack signal. Let's check timing and go from there.
We can do that next.
All right. This will be exciting.
We're not adjusting the timing here. We're just verifying where it's at from our previous tune. And yeah, we'll be back in this department to adjust this to accommodate the amount of nitrous we'll be throwing at it.
Made 258 horse and 323 pound-feet.
Well, I know we're climbing. Let's go ahead and hook the nitrous up so we can climb a big jump.
All right, I'm all for it.
Not a bad idea. For every 50 horse of nitrous, you want to pull a degree of timing out. We're hitting this thing with a 100 shot, so that means we need to knock out 2 degrees of timing. All right, cousin, don't forget that boogie button.
Give her the purge, man.
Didn't sound too bad.
It sounded good, though.
I would consider that a success.
Oh, yeah.
It made 326.99 for power at the wheel now, and torque is at 402.81.
Man, that's awesome.
Heck yeah.
That is awesome.
Now, that's with a little one, though. So we can go up from here.
Oh, no, now you have to go up from here. Now you know that it all works. Now you got to go up.
I'm going to get 50 more and put in it.
Nothing comes squirting out. Took it like a champ. You could tell when that nitrous came in, you know, that soft ramp, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I could tell too, but not even looking at or hearing the engine, but with your smile, it worked.
Oh my goodness.
There's a long air clear
Apparently
stud in there.
you're all giddy. That's what it is.
I just want to put them bigger peels in there.
All right, make her happen.
Dropping in the new jets just takes a little wrenching here on the front and rear of the plate. It's an easy task, and don't forget to tweak your timing for that bigger hit.
All right, I got the little bit bigger peels in it. You're going to get in there and try it out.
Let's see what's up.
It keeps going up.
Yeah.
341 and 438.
Well, I'm going to call it a win. I wouldn't say it's like a win at the track, but it's definitely a win for what we've done. The cool factor.
This is success right here. Now you guys, you got it going on. I'm very impressed. Everything's still going. Now you know you had like over 110-mile-an-hour wheel speed right there.
That's hauling.
Yes.
This engine,
A lot of it, too.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
coffins.
this particular engine, I'm sure, has never seen any sort of RPM like that in its entire life. You know, and let alone making that kind of power. If this thing was actually, you know, what it's rated for, 190 or whatever, and now you're making, you know, 340s at the tire.
Yeah. So we've doubled it essentially.
No, that's huge. That's huge.
We've doubled it.
That is 100% a win. All right, the next step is to what?
Racetrack.
Racetrack.
And you know, if we absolutely like disintegrate this thing, you may have to cut your teeth on some Cadillac.
Well, you know, I may or may not have worked on one of these before, so if something needs to be done to it, I think we can help you out. So.
But we're gonna let this thing cool down, get it off the dyno, and go have some fun.
We're gonna go put the hood on it and see if we can't ride around and terrorize the neighborhood.
I think you're all right. Nice job, guys. Nice job.
Thank you, Pat.
If we can't disturb the peace, perhaps we can dig up some creeper peepers at the track. How this behemoth does on the 8th mile, next on Detroit Muscle. You know, Daniel, I'm pretty proud of the way this Hearse turned out, and I'm excited to see how all of our hard work and upgrades pay off. Are you even listening to me? I've been pretty quiet today. It's kind of like I'm talking to a previous passenger. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty.
I'm up.
How was the ride?
Well, it ain't built for comfort. The last time I'm letting you talk me into riding back there down here.
Man. Well, we're back here at the drag strip trying to redeem ourselves, but either way, I think we still succeeded. We've changed the personality drastically on this old Hearse, plus we've doubled the power output. You want to flip for who gets to drive first?
Yeah, absolutely. Hang on. Ooh, I found a quarter back here in the back.
Get out of the way.
What? Hey, I thought we was flipping for it.
Yeah, you lost. We're lucky to have ETHRIDGE Motorsports Park right down the road from us. It's got everything you want. Fast cars, cool pits, and that intoxicating aroma. Burning rubber. Now, before we head down the track, let's talk about our goals with this thing. We wanted it to be a head turner, and as we're cruising it around through the pits, I believe we got exactly the reaction we were looking for.
It's pretty neat. I like it.
I mean, I ain't never seen a Hearse like it.
I like what I call the light pipes on the side of the car running underneath the side of it. I love that.
We were even able to grab the attention of a veteran racer who has spent a lot of his life on a racetrack. He's got a stunning door slammer with what some would call an unlucky number on the windshield.
1313, I was born on the 13th, on Friday the 13th, and the 13th is my lucky number. It's a 55 Chevrolet, it's fiberglass, it's got a Shaprock 565 engine with 1,040 horsepower, and it runs like 560s.
We know this thing won't be that fast. This old Hearse won't run anywhere near that, but we did bring this thing here to stretch its legs out on the pavement. Kidding? My face is kind of hurting.
Yeah, is that from the G-forces on launch?
No, not exactly. It's more of the smiles that I got from driving this big goofy car.
Man, that's awesome.
But man, I will say I didn't run the nitrous. I figured, you know, you got to crawl before you walk, and you're taller than me, so you should be able to have a longer stride, so maybe we'll cover ground a little better. So. But
yeah,
have your way with it.
I'm planning to. Thank you very much.
You go right ahead, big guy. Just keep it in drive. No need to holding it second.
Yeah?
But if you have a helmet for your smile, you might try that on, because this thing is epic.
That's awesome.
kind of like one of them Austin power turns. It's a long wheelbase Cadillac.
Sports fan.
Dude, I tell you, you look a lot better than I did out there.
I had the boogie button on though.
Yeah, NITROUS definitely helped. Now with this old car, guys, we aren't the fastest by any means. We set the bar pretty high, but you know, sometimes you gotta set goals and try to achieve them. So, man, I have to say, I think we knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, you know what this means, don't you?
What's that?
This means that we are now world record holders. We have the world's fastest 1976 Cadillac Hearse in black paint with twice pipes down the sides and 150 shot, powered by a 500 Cadillac. Yeah.
I think you're right. Let's go
Let's go get a
celebrate with
cheeseburger.
it. Man, yeah.
If you'd like to take a look back at this build, hit up PowerNationTV.com and check out the build page for Overtaker.
Up next, a little shifter tech for your 4-speed. One of the most fun things to do while driving an old school muscle car, if it had the option, would have to be ripping through the 4-speed. Manufacturers even used them back in the day to give their rides a bit more personality, kind of like a Mopar, for example. They have the famous pistol grip. Dumping the clutch on one of these big blocks, watching the tack climb, then snatching on the next gear, man, it doesn't get much better than that. To do that power shift seamlessly, there's a few things that have to play well together. Now, you don't want to be that guy that's showing off a little bit and wind up missing a gear, because it kind of makes you look silly. Now, obviously, you're going to have a transmission. This is an old school Muncie that is commonly found in a GM car. You have the shifter mechanism, the rods, and the levers. First step is to mount the shifter. On these old schools, they all are basically the same. They attach to the transmission tail housing with a couple of bolts and possibly an adapter bracket or two. You want to make sure this is good and snug because you don't want it moving around and flexing on you. I've seen on what I'm going to call more economical setups that the bracketry that mounts it to the transmission is made of lighter material. So whenever you go to pulling on the lever, well, this moves. And that leads you to chasing your tail whenever you go to adjust. Next up is the rods. Now these have to go in a certain way for them to work and move properly. If you try to put them in the wrong place, well, it's kind of like the old saying, square peg, round hole. It just doesn't work. If you're using used items like we are, there's a few things that you need to inspect, like the rod ends, linkages, and the bushings. What you're looking for is wear. Holes can become misshaped. Like on this one, if the bolt ever became loose, well, it'll widen up on each side of the opening, causing a sloppy shift. Also on this one, there is a plastic bushing. Sometimes you'll find steel bushings in there, but those are designed to be the wear item and may need to be replaced. Ours is nice and tight, so we can get it on. Now we're ready to attach our rods to the shifter mechanism. To do this properly, the transmission needs to be in neutral. Now here on your reverse, just cram it forward, and then your 1, 2, and 3, 4, put it in the middle. Just twist it around, you'll find that sweet spot. It's not really complicated, but it's necessary. Now to attach the rods to your fingers, these need to be lined up with the shifter. And on this setup, there's a small hole that from the factory would have gave you a little plastic rod that you'd slide through there. That rod's long gone, so we're going to be using an Allen wrench. You just wiggle it and jiggle it till it gets all the way through. Promise you I can get it. And then that one. That's what you're looking for. Now you just need to attach your rod. Put the little plastic bushing in there. And whenever you attach these, you don't want to be prying on it. Adjust this little screw here till it falls into place, just like that. That's the perfect spot. Where's my keeper? Here it is. Well, let's see how we did. First gear, second, third, fourth. That's what you're looking for. Now, if you've got an old 4-speed that's kind of giving you the fit, maybe you need to spend some time, adjust on those rods, and get it dialed in exactly where you need it. Now, we've had a pretty good day today, you know, beating and abusing that old Hearse, but that's what we tried to do from the beginning with that car. Build something that gets you plenty of attention and have a good time along with it. Now, that old car's had a pretty good following, and I'm not talking about the procession that you'd see normally behind one of those cars, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Now, our next build is going to be a pretty big one. It's getting some pretty trick suspension, big power, and all the goodies. You want to know what it is? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. If you'd like to know more about Overtaker, go to PowerNationTV.com and check out its project page. You can check out the build status of all our projects, before and after pics, the links to parts used, and all the episodes are right there on one page.